I grew up playing rugby, and I remember my country was the dominant. we'll let you guys have it for a period of time, but we're on the rise again. So. Yeah.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Storytime. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, please do not forget to like and subscribe. Today, we have a very, very, very special episode. As you know, Knox Hydration have been our partners for the last couple months. Incredible partners, incredible company. Thank you to everyone at Knox for making that happen. We wanted to do something special with that, and there's a lot of announcements that Knox as a company want to make throughout the rest of this year. Some things that they are doing over the next couple months that will change the lives of people, as well as change the way that you view sport within Cape Town, within South Africa, and potentially throughout Africa as a whole. So we brought in today Ethan Hughes, the founder of Knox Hydration. Ethan, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you being here, man.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much for your time. So I wrote down a quick little 2-3 liner just to give people an exact description of what Knox is. Knox Hydrate was created to give people of all ages a healthier way to hydrate, stay focused, recover, and thrive without relying on caffeine. Proudly South African and built with wellness, performance, and purpose in mind. Co-founded by Ethan and Dricus Du Plessis, Knox is more than a hydration product. It's about inspiring people to fuel their purpose every day.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. No, it's been a crazy ride so far. We're literally only 13 months on shelf. When Dricus and I got together on this, we actually were working with Ignite before, and then we thought, like, what could we do different out here? And we're toying with the idea of like an energy drink and stuff like that. But ultimately, we wanted to figure out something that was better for the community, better for everyone of all ages, because we got consumers as young as 5 and old as 88, male, female, which is wild. So. We definitely made the right path coming out with sparkling hydration, and the biggest, some of the biggest questions Dricus gets asked, like, what is something that's overlooked when it comes to his training or his methods? And one of the biggest things that most athletes overlook, or the youth overlook, is hydration, and that's where we wanted to double down. They always say that everyone's 5-10 years behind the US, and with all the hydration stuff happening there, we thought let's truly come out and be one of the first to market with this, and give the people what they need and what they want.
It really is. I like saying it as that, a first to market in terms of. I mean, how many times have we been in a Checkers and people are grabbing and going? With Knox, it's such an easy one to drink. You do see the benefit. I've actually sat with my younger brother. He's like all in on training and hydration, and he knows gear and supplements and everything like to the T. And him and I sat with a can one day, and he was like, "Shit, you guys got this loaded." So congrats on that in terms of ingredient listing and how you guys pulled that off. Before we get into meeting Dricus, your involvement with Ignite, and then moving across, and basically just you being the business, can I give it the word mogul that you are, and how you've been able to be so successful with it.
Thank you.
You guys have a big announcement, being the Founders Legacy Fund.
Yes.
Let's go a bit into what that is.
Well, obviously, when you and I first met, we started talking about the idea of what we want to do and give back to the community. And one of the things that I promised Dricus is that as we expand globally, and we are expanding globally now to other countries, that a portion of every can sold will be reinvested back into the South African community. Awesome. And where we thought best would be the youth and students. So with that, we definitely want to announce the Knox Founders Legacy. So we're going live this month, so especially this Friday. And then for 2026, we're going to start finding students from 10 and above, and we're going to pay for their school tuition for the year. So with that, it's going to be 5 students. So we'll pick 1 student a quarter, and we're going to start this with a social campaign. So run through social media, and there'll be no red tape. So there's no big applications to fill out. We'll find you through your socials. We want to see how Knox impacts your day-to-day. I did a campaign a while ago through the EFC network. We're on Supersport, and I announced that, hey, I want to see how Knox impacts your day-to-day, and I'm going to give away $100K. It was my own money. And then our socials just went wild. We had so many entries. It was great to see. So with that, same principle applies, but we want to give it back to the youth. And this isn't just for athletes. This is for academics, musicians, you name it. So anybody can do it. So as long as you go, grab a Knox, show us how Knox, impacts your day-to-day and what is your pursuit of purpose, whether it be, again, sports or music and stuff like that. And 4 students we pick through the socials, but the fifth one, we want to try and play around with it a bit. So what we've decided is if you see me out and about and you're drinking a Knox, you have permission to come up to me and give me an elevator pitch. So one of the things I think is dying these days is the education part of a true elevator pitch to students and to the youth. So, you know, whether you're a student or a college student and you're drinking a Knox, you see me, you got 60 seconds to tell me like your story and what you're trying to pursue, and then I'll give you the link of how to enter to be one of the candidates. But that'll be an actual entrance for you on the spot. And becoming kind of unique. So we want to do things different and really build the community around the product. Like you got your other bigger brands like your Red Bulls and your Monsters that are known for big stunts, monster truck, all that kind of stuff. Like we want to be community based because we are not an energy drink. We are sparkling hydration. It's water with BCAAs and vitamins. Doesn't get any better than that. So with that, we want it to be pushed through the community that way, and it's for the community from us to them, and let them be the driver for it.
Yeah, so, there's such a cool synergy that you guys have been able to develop. I mean, having Dricus's input and his dedication and his love for the South African community as a whole, the fan base that he's developed, and the way that the country's kicked back in terms of like, this is our boy kind of thing. You partner that with your business expertise as well. And there's such a cool focus on education, business, and sport. And finding a little three-way there on being able to target all three of those heads. And we've actually spoken before over a beer or a coffee or whatever, was most likely a beer, and saying there's been a lot of community work that Dricus has actually done. Not my story to tell, all his, but there's a lot of community work that he's done that people, potentially don't even know about. Putting back.
Well, that's the thing, so Dricus and I were friends first before we got into business, and I love him like a brother. But the commitment we made to each other is, I would focus on the business and he would focus on his fight career. But the thing that we share the most is that community impact. That's something that's cool. And with the opportunities he's now been blessed with, he wants to give back just as much as I do. And I got to say this, I grew up in Oz, but South Africa I've taken a liking to. And I even have TIA, this is Africa, tattooed on me.
No way.
So Dricus is the one that actually designed it. I also have his initials here, but that's a story for another day.
Okay, episode 2.
Episode 2. But no, that community drive is what's important to him. And, like you said before, this is a South African company. Everything is designed, manufactured, formulated here in country, and we're ready to take it on the world. But that's just a lever for Drick to really focus on his true passion, which is giving back to the community. So it's cool to see, and with my expertise, it definitely helps drive that for him. But that's where a true passion for him is. He loves South Africa more than most realize. So
you're also showing how someone with a sporting career can turn into the business side of things. Which, I mean, we're still very early into Dricus's career. He's achieved so much so quickly that sometimes we forget that it hasn't been a very long time that he's been at the UFC for. And you guys have a very, already developed such a incredible company out of that's already giving back this early in. So I'm excited to see, one, where Dricus's career goes. I see nothing but the big lights and the belt in his future.
Absolutely.
The whole country's positive about that. But also for Knox as a company, it's very seldom you find a company, like you said, 13 months on the shelf, and you're already putting something in place like the Founders Legacy Fund. That's insane.
Well, Dricus and I are very competitive against each other in a healthy way, but when it comes to drinking, not so healthy. But no, Knox was just, it wasn't even a concept. Actually, like I said before, we were looking at other opportunities, and we're going around. We had an awesome opportunity to partner with, from the Ignite stand, partner with Checkers when we came out with the tequila and stuff like that. But then we saw a shift, and we're talking around the table, and we were mentioning energy, and hydration was brought up. So we saw that maneuver, and we knew Dricus's fight was coming up in August when he was fighting Izzy, and so me and my team, I was blessed with a great team, a formulation master, Gareth Israel. He is incredibly gifted at what he does.
Sick.
So with a team of 4 people, we built Knox in 4 months from concept to on shelf. So I had the best of the best with me. It was a fire team, and then 4 months of just putting our heads together. We designed it, formulated it, and I got it all funded, put the business together, and had it on shelves in 4 months.
That's insanely fast.
All of Dricus and I can be crazy, but all of our years of experience led to this opportunity, and that's why I've dedicated my life to Knox now. I don't do anything else but Knox. So definitely I found my pursuit of purpose through Knox. Yeah. And then being able to share this with Drick has been a dream come true. But yeah, it was definitely aged me a bit during those 4 months. I got more grey in my beard now than before. One of my team members, Mark, who he's got a lot more grey in his beard, but he is 20 years and 1 day older than me. That makes sense.
There we go. Got to have that one day.
Oh, he's classic silver fox.
There we go.
But no, then the brand just took off, where the public took a liking to it, and at first there's always challenges, but thanks to Checkers and thanks to leadership from Peter Engelbrook, that man is an absolute genius, the CEO of ShopRite Checkers. Dricus and I and some others, we were in a room with him one night, and he started talking about like what his passions are, and he used the word legacy a lot. So him and Ronaldo Phillips from Checkers, there was a comment about what does the legacy look like, and the boys took it as like, what is the brand, what does the product look like as a legacy? I took it a lot more than that. I started to see that the legacy that he was talking about is, what does it mean to community outside of it being a beverage? And that's what I wanted to build the platform upon. And then Dricus and I started agreeing on that. And there's no time like the present to launch these initiatives. And with where I see South Africa, and I've lived here on and off for years now, and the opportunity for the youth, the students, is the future of your nation. And that's where I think we want to target and give back the best. Now, we have other things that we're going around, and we're giving Knox sporting equipment and fixing up other school initiatives around the Western Cape. Yeah. Been very fortunate enough to start working with Ricardo McKenzie, the minister in the Western Cape, sports, tourism, and arts culture. And those guys have great initiatives, and we're doubling down with them. So we're going to give back, like I said, sporting equipment to the youth that can't afford it. So rugby balls, soccer balls, cricket bats, you name it. Any ovals that have been neglected, we're going to start fixing those up as well. But that's the community mesh, and driven not just from sport, but the youth and students, where things are going to go. Because that, I think, is sometimes overlooked. And that's where I think we want to put our energy behind.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing that. Especially being Australian coming to South Africa and making such a difference. There's usually a lot of tension between, the two countries.
Yes.
So you're bringing them together beautifully in that sense.
Thank you. Yes, I grew up playing rugby, and I remember my country was the dominant. we'll let you guys have it for a period of time, but we're on the rise again. So
Drinking a Knox Hydrate feels like.
Is there no one else? Give it up for still now. Dricus Du Plessis.
Let's get back to the show.
You guys, complete side note, Dill actually reminded me this morning, you guys have a big game coming up on Saturday, Australia, New Zealand. Before we get into the next step, how are you feeling about that?
I feel fine. So listen, I grew up in a famous sporting family back home. So I've been around it since I was a kid. My dad played rugby league and cricket in Australia. So he was the last person to play for the States, both sports at the same time. So talented individual. He's now got his own radio show in Australia. But he also used to be the voice of New Zealand. He was a big commentator for the Auckland Warriors and caught a lot of games. So with that, definitely some rivalry within the family in itself. Obviously, Dad being Aussie and going to be out there and for New Zealand, but no, I'm confident in our skill set this weekend. But I think Australia's got a lot to prove now. So I think it's under new leadership, and the younger generation are definitely seeing what needs to be done. Because it's been a while, but I think you guys got to start looking out.
Yeah, I think you guys are going to have some perfect timing for the World Cup, especially having it at home as well. Yeah, it's going to be a big 2027.
Well, listen, I've drunk with a lot of your current. I've had drinks with a lot of your current Springboks in different countries, and I got to tell you, listen, I can drink them under the table. So
really?
I'm not too concerned about what we have coming forward.
I like that statement. Yeah, that's the right way to just pull on the heartstrings of a South African. Go with the drinking culture of the Springboks. I like 100%.
That. Listen, so Neil Du Plessis, Neil Dricus' older brother. Yes. So Neil Du Plessis, for those that know, is Dricus' older and more attractive brother. So we went out drinking one night, and then we challenged each other. He was representing South Africa. I was representing Oz.
Oh, that's pressure.
We went out drinking, and then because we're getting to know each other at that stage, and then we went out, had a proper night in Cape Town, and then we had to go to work in the morning. And then I went to go pick up Neil from his hotel, and he was rough, and he admitted defeat, and he said, "All right, cool, Australia took that one that night." So that was a proud moment for me to have, because I've also done the same to Dricus. So
okay, you've taken on the whole family at this point.
Bro, yeah, well, they're all the brothers so far. I haven't had a chance to get drunk with, but I will. It's on the horizon.
Yeah, you going for your three-peat?
Yeah, well, he's a 3-time champ. I want to be the 3-time champ.
Go! I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Let's first of all crack one of these.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go for a bit of a sugar-free. I'm also gonna tuck into the peach.
What's your favorite flavor so far?
I'm big on blue.
Okay.
I'm big on blue. I haven't yet had the red grape.
Oh yes,
The
phenomenal.
new bad boy that we literally can't find anywhere because it's sold out everywhere.
It's hard. You got to get your hands on it quick. But right now, so as we expand, so we're in ShopRite Checkers, we're in Pick and Pay nationwide, we're in Pick and Pay BP. We have other places, Food Lovers, Fresh Shop. They're all coming on board. We had an amazing opportunity to work with Spa now, but we're growing. We want to be a predominant player. We want to be a household name in this country, and like that's way to bring it back is like, we want the community to help build with us. So, the flavor of red grape came about because, we listened to the community, and that was, it's not driven by us behind the doors. We like listening to guys, what you guys want, and we want to give that back.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Is there ever a chance of a pineapple coming at some stage?
Explain that one to me.
A pineapple. We need it.
Oh, I thought there was going to be a variation or something.
South African version of it.
Okay. We listen. We have tried some variations of pineapple and other flavors mixed in.
Okay.
But no, I receive cases and cases of samples every other month, and I got to go through and we review them and go from there. But we're open. So listen, if you want to throw pineapple in the mix, we can definitely put that out there and get some samples.
Spamming all the Instagram posts. Yeah. Just pineapple emojis. Yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised. Some of our consumers, some of our fans, they come up with some pretty interesting things and ways to get our attention on social. So it's cool to see. There was someone that was pushing a flavor, and what they did is they superimposed massive Checkers trolleys outside of a Checkers, and they had a certain flavor inside the trolley that they were pushing in to the Checkers to be like, guys, we need this flavor. It was like, very, very clever. The trolley was this big and the person was this big, and they're trying to get our attention that way, which was great to see.
Genius.
Well
played, whoever that was. Shout out. That's 10 out of 10 content right there.
Yeah.
Ethan, I want to go a little bit into giving listeners and viewers some insight into who you are business-wise and how you've been able to implement such incredible business knowledge into Knox alongside someone like Dricus. So initially, if we go just before Knox, you were the VP for Ignite International, right?
So I handled our global business development. So I was the vice president. So I became VP at 29. So I was the youngest on leadership by 15 years. So I already came from a few different sectors. So I had import-export business, and we handled manufacturing, and I worked in the cannabis space, but I also worked in venture capital, all that kind of stuff with my friends in America. But no, I'd already built a reputation for consumer goods, and then I worked in a lot of countries that normally people don't like to operate in. Okay. So I found flexibility there, being the only ones to maneuver and bring certain products to different countries that never had them before, which was cool. And then I just built an international base of partners. And for me, everything is relationship based, and that's what I'm good at, is building relationships. So that kind of just naturally evolved into the business. And then when I came into Ignite, Mark actually was the creative director of Ignite at the time. He asked me to take a look at the cannabis division, so I came in and gave some advice, and then I actually built their CBD division. So when COVID happened, the only division that was making money for us was the CBD division, because that's what was happening in America. So a lot of things came down in that division to hold up the frame for us for a period of time, get through the hard times. So I definitely built my relation. I built the trust with the company that way. Then when we got into the tobacco industry and vapes, I actually opened up Latin America for the company. So now Latin America, especially Brazil, is our biggest market. We do some insane numbers out there now.
Sure.
But no, my job was to open a country, find the distributor, find someone in country to run it, and then move on to the next and continue to open the countries for us. So I opened a lot of countries globally for us, which was great. But then the biggest education piece, so as obviously when you're younger, you think you know everything. Yeah. But the biggest education piece I ever received was actually an impromptu mentorship from Paul Bilzerian, Dan Bilzerian's father. Sure. That education, that's something money can't buy. That man, a lot of what I have now as I've gotten older is thanks to him and what he has taught me. I am loyal to that man to a fault. There's stuff that you never thought you'd be able to learn, and just the way that he sees the world, the way he sees the business world, second to none. So I got a lot of shout out to you, Paul. A lot of love and respect for Paul. But no, he's a machine. That man hasn't had a drink since he was 21.
Really?
Yeah. So he is laser focused. And then the way that he assesses a problem is far different than anybody else. That man also served in Vietnam as a Green Beret. That guy, he's a machine.
That's badass.
Yeah.
What were like some key takeaways for you when first dealing with someone at that caliber? Like, what stood out?
So that's the thing. I've because of who my father was growing up, I've been around a lot of big caliber people before, so I wasn't shaken by that. The thing that shook me the most about Paul is his knowledge and trying to process a situation quickly. So seeing he loves to use examples of playing Rubik's Cube in like 4 dimensions. So it's that's a cool way to look at it. But that's what captivated me the most is, here's a problem, because we whenever I'd call Paul, I said, Paul, you got 2 seconds. I'd tell him the situation 30 seconds, and that's why the elevator pitch is so important. I'd tell him my problem 30 seconds. He'd have 5 solutions for me instantly.
Wow.
And 5 different ways to go around it. That's what blew me away. So I've been around movie stars. I've been around, when we had the Ignite parties, like every celebrity in the world was there, which was something. One of the parties that Mark threw, we had the big Ignite party in Bel Air. 3,500 people attended. Because we were essentially the new Playboy Mansion. 350 were men.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
good stats, guys. Good stats.
I can't take credit
Well
for
played.
it. That was Dan and Mark. Yeah. And then within 24, 48 hours, it was like 1.9 billion social media impressions.
Jeez,
So and then we had like all of the celebrities around. So I've seen it. I've been there. I've done that. But then like the shift to dealing with Paul, it's like a whole other animal.
Really?
Entirely. That's the cool thing about it, because Paul's also been there, done it. He's been around everyone, Donald Trump, you name it. But it's just the way that Paul holds a room, even from a Teams call. Yeah. It's surreal. But that was the one thing that you had to get over and quickly to make sure that you hold your own in the room.
Okay.
But seeing his perspective is definitely different.
What is like when you say hold yourself in a room, right?
Yep.
I always feel like there's a fine balance with that, because you don't want to come across as like arrogant or cocky or knowing it all, but you also don't want to come across as like insecure or, scared of anyone in the room. How do you find that perfect balance just for people listening of like, this is how, especially tying it to the elevator pitch, you're not pitching to someone that isn't in a position to be able to drastically help you. Yeah. How do you get into that room and how do you hold yourself?
Well, it's an education piece beforehand is always best, but not like doing the work before you go in the room, i.e. like, all right, what's the purpose of the meeting in the room? Like making sure you're knowledgeable on the actual topic. You don't have to know everything, but make sure you can hold your own and based on the top principles of that topic. Okay. That's what it is, because it's the more I've noticed is the execution. I think Joe Rogan and others said it like that. It's the preparation that you do before it, going into it, is what gives you the confidence, and that's something that I always do. So when I'm walking in, I know exactly what's going on before I go in there to make sure I can add value to the conversation. But it's that confidence key, and all that anxiety that comes from it not being able to hold your own. Like if you know what you're doing and that if you know what you're getting into, that takes all the anxiety out of it. Like as long as you research, doing the work ahead of time, that's what's important. Because listen, Paul, others on leadership, they come correct every meeting. Doesn't matter what it's about. But if you don't know what you're talking about or you're winging it at the time, like you will be torn to shreds. So, really? But that's the thing. Like once you know and you've been given that experience to hold your own when it comes to the topic, like that anxiety goes out the window and you run with it. So that's like the preparation is key the most, because without the, I growing up, I was always told the 7 Ps. Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance.
Sick.
Have you ever heard that before?
No.
Yeah, so prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. So that, resonated with me growing up. So all of the preparation goes into getting rid of your anxiety, getting rid of all your stress and stuff like that. So again, once you're in the room, it's not about confidence and stuff like that. It's just cool. You know what needs to be said and do your part, and that's it.
Yeah. Mentioning stress and anxiety.
Yes.
Before we started rolling on camera, we were having a really lekker conversation around, I know very few people that travel and are on the go and are in and out of calls and meetings as yourself. It's a crazy schedule that you run by.
Yep.
You've started implementing certain things into your life to kind of mitigate stress, handle anxiety, perform at like a peak level.
Yep.
I imagine there's a lot of expectation placed on you as well, handling expectations and handling all the different responsibilities of your career.
Yep.
How have you started doing that?
Oh yeah, so as we were talking about before, like I'm 36 in December now, and I've started to figure out like, all right, what things outside of just training, like should I be really looking at for longevity and peace of mind when it comes to work? And I went to this clinic. There's the anti-aging clinic in Sea Point. You got to go. Let's go. Dr. Duncan is phenomenal. So I went into my bloods, went into a brain scan, and then they make you fill out this intense questionnaire to go through and see like where you're off tilt. So when I was talking with him, he was like, he said, listen, your bloods are telling me one thing, but the questionnaire tells me another. So the way I wrote the way I answered all the questionnaire is like, you look like that. On paper, you're the Dalai Lama. You handle stress incredibly well, but your body is telling me another story. I was like, oh, okay. So like my cortisol levels were incredibly low. That's based because I'm working around all the time, and the stress levels are high. But I've trained my brain to deal with it a certain way, I guess. And my body's now, as I'm getting older, going, oh, well, hang on a second. You got to put different mechanisms in place to optimize what you want to be doing, because you can't run like this at all times, otherwise you're going to burn out. So with that, like, he wrote all the normal stuff from supplements and stuff to take, but just the little shift in mindsets to give me an understanding that if I want to optimize, the long-term routes, I got to start prioritizing things with work and start prioritizing people. And if the people aren't the right cogs in the machine, those people have to be replaced to make sure that I don't come up, folks. Just like you were saying, like if someone's not doing it, I'll go do it myself to make sure the job just gets done. And credit is something that I don't like you don't care for. Just as long as the job is done and the outcome is given, that's what the matter is. But his mind shift is like, if you're going to go do that all the time, then you're not going to be at your best for everybody else. So the little shifts there, and making sure my sleep is optimized and stuff like that is a big shift for me these days. As you know, the time zones I deal with can be brutal on the body, especially when I was in Australia for 35 days, and I did Australian time zone, Sub-Saharan time zone, East Coast, West Coast, America time zone, and I was not a happy camper. So
shit, that's pretty much 24/7 the whole way through.
It was a lot, as we launch Knox in Australia now next year. They're things I got to take into consideration now. As when we were younger, we could just do that all the time, then go out and have a drink.
Yep.
But now not so much.
Nope.
No, yeah. But I highly recommend. Shout out to the anti-aging clinic in Sea Point. They're phenomenal. But dude, even the brain scans that they did with me was cool to see those results. But the little things make all the difference, is what he was telling me. And those little things we're working on to get it done. But it's been great. And I've been taking peptides and stuff like that now. My biological age, even though I'm turning 36, is 30. So I reversed my age quite a bit, which is cool.
Damn.
I definitely want to live a long life, like Paul Bilzerian. So
there we go.
I would love to actually learn from Paul. Actually, ask him, how does he deal with stress? Because that would be a good one to know.
Yeah.
But no, like that's something that I also learned from Dric is, because Dric is so dialed in on all of his little things. Like his mind's in the future. So little things like that I'm starting to adopt as well. Hopefully he's adopting a few things from me.
We want to thank you guys for watching this far. We also want to thank Super Mushrooms for keeping me focused for every episode of Storytime.
I'm sure he is. You guys are bouncing well off each other.
Yeah, but no, it's cool. Like, there's, especially like even with Knox, like the BCAAs and vitamins you get from the Knox every day is so essential to the base functions of your body. You know, the Hubermans, Joe Rogans, all that kind of, they all talk about BCAAs, and you know, there's the other podcasters all around the world that are trying to push and make sure that everybody consumes BCAAs every single day. You look at, I think Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg takes like 3 bouts of BCAAs every day.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm just privileged enough to be able to be a part of a brand that we already have that. So this literally fits into my day-to-day. I think I drink 4 Knox sugar-frees a day. So I've been cutting weight. So sugar-frees have been amazing since it's 0 calories. But if you are hungover, and standard Knox is a big key to helping.
It's a go-to.
Yes. So I assume you've had that.
Oh, many times.
Yes.
Many times. I've flipped the coin. So I've done the Knox on the night out.
Yep.
Mix it with a little bit of vodka, a little bit of tequila. It's fire.
Works well, right? Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Also, it leaves a little bit of the bubbleless at the door
Yeah.
because you've been hydrating all night by doing it that way. So that's
Yeah.
a key element to having a good night.
Yeah.
And then tuck into one with the gym the next morning. All my problems are solved.
So I always get nervous when I send samples to Drick. So the first time we sent a bunch of samples to Drick, it was the boys, Rhino, Wayne, ST, all the boys were there. And I'm like, guys, try the samples, no liquor. Try the samples, no liquor. All I get back is Dricus hasn't tried them yet. The boys drank all of them with vodka. And I was like, and the boys have
Send another batch.
Yeah, and the boys have given it all a thumbs up. I'm like, good God. So I'm like, all right, cool. So now there's strict rules in place that when it goes to Drick, it's Drick before it gets to the boys. So
Good call.
yeah.
Good call. The homies are keen, Roo. A little
Yes.
bit of cocktail mixing there kind of got it going.
Well, when they start experimenting, I know it's getting out of hand. So that they go with the vodka, then the gin, they try it with brandy, tequila. So we know that the orange and the tequila pairs really well. Thanks to the focus group the boys did. So
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is a multi-use product here now.
yeah, exactly.
You've done a lot of, just on the note of being with the boys, you've done a lot of traveling with Dricus and with all the guys as well. I mean, Dill and you know we were all chatting now about the Australia trip and that whole experience.
Yes.
What has that been like?
So the first true one that hit me hard was the Izzy fight in Perth. I think, you know, Dill was there. We, you know, Cairo, CEO of EFC, the team. It was, you know, my mate Ash came out. I shouted him a ticket for his birthday.
Sick.
My best mate from childhood, Tim, came. It was a culmination of a lot of things, especially also Knox being launched. But being there for your boy going against Izzy was just, that was the best way to experience. Like we arrived and everybody was just nervous. The nerves were constant.
Yeah.
Even the alcohol couldn't prevent the nerves. Being around everybody that loves him and the atmosphere in Perth was phenomenal. But being around all of those that love him and know what he wants to accomplish, because you know this thing for Drick now is a long-term plan. He wants to be the greatest of all time in the division, and the love that everybody was showing for him that day was surreal. Like we were in the stands with the Springboks. Like I had the Springboks were around us. I had my mates with me. I flew a great friend of mine. That kid had just turned 18, so I flew him out there, and he was
Sick.
It was out of his mind for him. But the love we had, and then the moment. So like obviously I couldn't have a single drink that day, because I was like too nervous to what was going on. Like, not one. We've been drinking a lot of days up leading towards it, but that day I couldn't have
those 6 hours.
Yeah, but I just couldn't have a single drink. I don't know what it was. And then when he won, like the emotional weight lifted from the nerves, and it was just pure joy. Like, you know, I was with Wayne and Cairo, and we were like crying for him. We were crying because we know how much it means for Drick, and it was wild. I haven't felt. I'd never felt anything like that before, or been that heavily emotionally invested into something before. You know, because people will come up to me and be like, "Oh, you had a lot riding on Knox and Dricus." I'm like, "Not really. Like Dricus is one thing entirely, and that's the love that we have for him. You know, Knox is something different. You know, we built Knox because the product stands on its own, and Dricus is a founder. We'll bring on other athletes. We'll bring Springboks. We'll bring you name it. We'll bring them on, but being there for him in real time and seeing all of the work that he puts in, because sometimes people get cocky and say, "Oh, it's overnight success for Drick." I'm like, you out of your mind?
It's a mind-blowing statement.
I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, I've gone back thanks to Cairo and watched Dricus's fights in the EFC now and stuff like that to see where he's come from, because Dricus and I've been friends for years now, but I wanted to see what's been driving him, and that same love and passion, you know, we give him and he gives to the sport. We're starting to transfer into other things together. So we're trying to shift that across to other things for us and others. But dude, that experience was easily like a core moment for me for the rest of my life. I know for Dylan, even though we abused him that whole trip, I think he felt the same way.
You left a piece of your soul there in Australia.
Yeah, he limped leaving. So,
There we go.
Yeah.
I remember being with you when you were doing all your paperwork and stuff, and the like fingers crossed on do I get to go, and like everything coming through for you and getting to do it.
Well, I tried to get you to come for the Sydney fight. But listen, that was your boss's problem, not mine.
We're gonna start naming and shaming now. There we go.
Well, like I always say, Cairo candy. So.
Cairo candy. I dig that. Did you get to do the Kamzat fight Chicago?
No, unfortunately not. So I went to I was going to Australia to set up Knox. So I was there at the time when they were all doing that fight, because that fight came around pretty quickly, but my time to go to Australia was already set. Okay. And I always had to go get my visa renewed and stuff for South Africa. So so we went to Oz. I watched the fight from a pub in Woolloomooloo, Sydney. I was there with my parents and some family friends.
Cool, man.
Which was cool. My best mate from high school. So we went through a bunch. We went through a bunch of emotions. Then alcohol was pouring. Alcohol stopped pouring because emotions were even higher.
Yep.
But you know that's the fight game. But I was very happy. I sent my fiance, so she went to the fight. She took her brother. So I was cool to give that gift to her brother. They had a great time. But you know the UFC does a phenomenal job anywhere they go. But I know that Dricus is back training now, and he's going to start looking at stuff for next year. Yep. But no, man, I'm looking forward to the next one. And I will definitely be there for that one.
Yeah.
So well, Drick goes into his own camp. We just go into a different version of camp before the fight. So we mentally and physically prepare ourselves for that 7 days leading up to the fight to make sure that our bodies and our minds don't break.
Yes, are ready to handle what they're about to be put through. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other flight over with Cairo, we flew first class to Perth, and he and I started to drink before we got on the plane, all through the plane. Then we arrived very rough. But then the Sydney flight, he flew a few days later than me. And then just happened that my other good mates, Steve and Cam, who are actually also our distributors for Zimbabwe and Zambia, war brands out there. So we're working through them. But they were on the same flight with Cairo. So then I decided to put those groups of people together. Then next thing were you on that flight? Okay. Oh no, so you weren't there.
Next time. Yeah.
But then I heard stories that the cabin crew at Qantas weren't happy with the South Africans in business class taking over the bar and not letting anybody else sleep. So yeah, there was definitely a crew of people coming.
Sounds
over.
about right.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I love how they were like, once again, the South Africans. Yeah. That's something we have in common though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like Aussies just are like a lekker jaw.
Yeah. Listen, we grew up wanting a good time. There's a few changes happening in Australia now because of our lockout laws and stuff like that, but the rowdiness is coming back to people wanting to have a good time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the reason we have such a good reputation is because once we're out of Australia, we love to run amok, and that's where it comes from.
But Australia's quite strict.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I like out of what I've heard from all the stories, like.
Yeah, so I hadn't been home to Australia in 9 years. Wow. I was away for a long time, but then COVID became a big factor in adding years to it. My family was actually supposed to visit me February 2020, and obviously that didn't pan out. But I'd gone back, and it was my first time to Perth, so I wasn't used to the coastal living type of slowness of Perth. Yeah. And then when we arrived, and like most of the places were closed by 10, and we're like, what's going on here?
By 10.
I'm like, what's going on? We're just getting started. What's going on?
Yeah.
And then there was like the lockout laws, and there's also the rules. If you order a shot, you can only have it at the bar with the people there. You can't take your shots to your table. And I'm just like, I'm like, guys, this is a shock to me as well because I haven't been home for a long time. But Sydney, we got away with a little bit more. But no, the government had made some decisions, right or wrong. I don't think the population liked them.
Okay.
So then but I think there's going to be a change. There's going to be a change coming.
Yeah. Chatting on Australia.
Yes.
And Knox coming across.
Yep.
And launching throughout the country. What will your approach be from a sporting perspective in that sense as well? Because, you know, as much as Knox have developed such a strong foothold within the UFC, the EFC, within the fighting community, it's obviously got so much relevance to every other sport as well.
So the way, obviously, because of our relationship with Kaya and Dricus, we started with the EAC, but we're expanding to all sports in South Africa because, like you just said, it's for everybody.
Yep.
So a similar approach with Australia. So we're gonna start out with New South Wales, especially Sydney. Sick. Working with a distributor over there, Harry Moad. He's a dear friend of mine. I've known him for 15 years. We're looking at partnering. So we're going to be a sponsor for the Bulldogs, which was my father's club growing up. So it's going to be a nice thing to have the logo on my father's jersey.
Oh, how's that? Dude, that makes me emotional. That's sick.
Thank you. No, it's big for my dad and I, and having that relationship will allow us to be at the stadium. And they've got a huge, like a 60,000 person stadium. So we'll be able to do a lot of advertising there. We'll work with the players. So it'll be the rugby league. And then we'll start branching out from there. So for me, like low-hanging fruit is always the easiest part. So just adopting that. Then we'll start shifting into the run clubs and tennis and paddle and stuff like that. And then we'll start looking at other sports, whether it's soccer or AFL in country. I'm not a big AFL fan, but obviously because I grew up in Sydney.
Oval field, kick it through the poles rugby, right?
Yes.
With you.
As a rugby, you grew up playing rugby, you don't like AFL. You grew up playing AFL, you don't like rugby.
So who are the homies that play AFL? Because I've never met someone before that does.
Neither have I.
Okay, there we go. Good answer.
Not a place I've ever spent time. But listen, it's an Aussie sport, and I'll always support it.
Yeah.
But it's just that South Africa versus Australia rivalry. We have it from rugby to AFL, same rivalry in country.
Okay, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That must be fun games to go to then, because you're like rival with your own homies.
Yeah.
That's a jewel.
So that's the thing. Like just like South Africa, any sport you go to, it's a drinking occasion. So it doesn't matter what the age is, it's still a drinking occasion.
That's a drinking occasion.
Yeah, I've gone to a few of the rugby games on the weekends, and parents are drinking beers on the weekends. Same as Australia. So but the approach that we'll have is we'll play upon that stuff in Australia, and our goal is to spread across from Eastern Australia to Western Australia, and eventually be a national brand, which would be cool. But the sports, because we have to be very specific in each state. So some states are more predominant AFL, some states are more predominant soccer or rugby or rugby league. It's a big shift because you guys have got your rugby, your soccer here, and cricket. Your boxing's on the up and up. EFC is obviously huge, but and we'll start tapping into the MMA and boxing community in Australia just organically because of what we already have here. For episode 2, we'll do a big announcement for that one. But that's something that Kyra and I have been working on for a long time. So a big sporting event we've pulled off for next year, and that'll be some big news for especially the city of Cape Town.
Okay, we can't make that announcement just yet.
No, we can't.
Okay, I want to start like probing with some questions, but we'll leave it for a second episode.
All I can say is that Dricus asked me something a long time ago, and he wanted to make sure that I put a spotlight on MMA Africa, and whatever we can do to make sure that we bring that up a bit on the global scale, because it's already so predominant through Africa, but to give it a bit of an international flair. That's pretty much all I can say at this time.
Okay. We'll find some answers. As I said, I'm super excited for it. You guys are taking on so many different levels of business and collaborations and sponsorships, and I mean, obviously, thank you for the partnership we've had here for a while.
No, it's been great, man.
I'm fingers crossed on the opportunity to start podcasting with some great internationals, and hopefully do some traveling soon through a lot of stuff we're busy on as well, and start kind of spreading out the brand even more from that angle.
Well, you're just thinking about that. Maybe that's something we can do with the Knox Legacy Fund, our Founders Fund. Is if we're looking at these students and stuff through socials, maybe we can start looking at them that want to be in media and come bring them to you
100%
and do little things like that. That'll be something that we can do cool.
I'd love to do that.
We can bring the candidates here, and then they can speak to South Africa, and South Africa can give us feedback on what they think.
they can come do their elevator pitch here.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Do it for Ethan and do it for camera, and then the people can kind of get involved on seeing who they kind of vote for.
Yeah.
Ethan, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate
course.
your time. Thank you for agreeing to do this. Thank you to everyone for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, go grab a Knox. Get healthy, get replenished, get hydrated. Stop wasting your time with anything else. Shout out to Dricus. Thank you for creating this company. Shout out to Mark as well. Everyone involved. Thank you for the partnership. We'll give a little shout out as well to EFC. You guys are phenomenal. You've been there since day one, involved in all of this kind of stuff as well. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate your time. Excited to have you on. Excited for episode 2.
Yep.
When we can make the big announcement.
Yeah, that'll be big. But before I forget, so if you want to go to the website, so literally the website will be knoxhydrate.com /Founders Legacy Fund for more details, and it'll go live this Friday.
Okay, go enter. See you guys there. Thanks so much for watching. Cheers, guys.